This is a copy of the Bible study notes for North Shield Evangelical Church. It's on the book of Proverbs and it's on the subject of pride and humility. When we introduce ourselves, people want to know our name and something about us. But how likely are we to introduce ourselves in the following ways? Hi, I'm Matt, much better than you. Or, hi, my name's Proud Paul. Or, I'm Steve, self-important. Or, my name's Pompous Patricia. Or, hi, I'm Stuck-up Sheila. How likely or unlikely are we to introduce ourselves in these ways? No one's going to hear us say, I'm proud, because we know pride is ugly. When you meet a proud, self-important, arrogant individual, it's an instant dislike. Perhaps that's why Scripture describes people as being proud in their inmost thoughts. We want to keep our pride hidden below the surface. We are proud in our thoughts, but our pride shows itself through our actions. As it says in Proverbs chapter 21, Scoffer is the name of the arrogant, haughty man who acts with arrogant pride. I find it hard to imagine anybody introducing themselves saying, "Hi, my name is Scoffer." We don't verbalize pride. Instead, pride reveals itself through our actions, through our words, through the choices that we make. Pride shows itself through us being judgmental, or via us boasting, or criticizing others all the time, or subtly fishing for praise, or saying that we're always right, refusing advice, or giving advice, or even lectures to other people. Pride shows itself through our actions. But if pride brings a person low, then the first step towards humility is to confess that I've been proud. So as we look at this study on pride and humility, remember, you probably won't call yourself a proud person. And yet the first step to humility is to confessing, I've been proud. Now we've looked at the sound of pride, and now we're going to look at the look of pride. What does pride look like? Well, in the following Proverbs, Solomon pulls back the curtain and shows us what pride is like. He says, "It is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glorious to seek one's own glory." I don't know about you, but I can just about watch somebody eating an extra large cooked breakfast. 4 sausages, 4 eggs, 4 rounds of toast, 4 hash browns, and 4 pieces of black pudding. I can just about stomach that. But there's something sickening about watching somebody consuming just one thing. Somebody eating 25 sausages, or somebody eating 10 Mars bars out of the 10 Mars bars in a row, or somebody eating the entire tub of 1 litre ice cream. There's something about somebody consuming one thing that's sickening. Solomon asks us to picture pride as like somebody with their spoon in a honey jar, shoveling in 1 mouthful of sugar after another, after another. They live off just one thing. I wonder if this represents something of the single-mindedness of pride. None of us are good at everything, but we all have a tendency to be slightly better than others at one thing. Pride makes us latch on to that one thing and evaluate everybody else based on how good they are at that one thing. Pride makes us latch onto that one thing and evaluate ourselves because of how good we are at that one thing. If I'm a stoic, I'll judge those who are wet blankets. If I'm hard-working, I'll judge those who are lazy. If I'm calm, I'll judge those who are stress heads. If I've got high morals, I'll judge everybody who has areas of weakness. We latch onto the one thing we are good at and criticize everybody else based on how good or poor bad they are at that one thing. It is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glorious to seek one's own glory. Another aspect of pride is the focus on self. Life isn't about family and job and friends and hobbies and church. Life is about one thing, seeking one's own glory. All my conversations are either seeking praise, boasting about myself, or criticizing others. My entire path in life is there. The only thing I'm ever thinking about in life is how it might boost my reputation, about how I might gain honour for myself. And just as a diet of only honey is very empty, a diet of only seeking one's own glory is very empty, shallow life indeed. Pride, in a sense, is like standing in the middle of the Himalayas, taking a selfie, a photo of yourself. Despite all the beauty around you, your focus is on you. But if pride is like standing in the middle of the Himalayas, taking a selfie of yourself, then humility is standing in the Himalayas, looking in awe at Mount Everest. Looking in awe at something greater, much bigger than you. And as Christians, we have something much greater, much bigger to focus our attention on. In Psalm 50 it says, "Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God shines forth." If the best singer or actor or comedian you ever encountered was only as talented as you'd be most disappointed. Instead, we experience joy and fulfillment when our eyes are fixed on somebody or something greater than ourselves, such as Mount Everest, or a comedian who is better than us, or an actor who can act better than us, or a singer who can sing better than us. We experience joy and fulfillment when our eyes are fixed on somebody or something greater than us. That's why John the Baptist was the happiest man alive. For he spent his life focusing on the greatness of Jesus Christ. We read in the book of Luke, Mary got ready and hurried to a town to the hill country of Judea, where she entered Zechariah's home and greeted Elizabeth. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby, that's John the Baptist, leaped in her womb. And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit and said, "As soon as the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy." John the Baptist, even in the womb, experienced joy because he was focused on the greatness, not of himself, but of Jesus Christ. And that is something John did throughout his life. He says, "You yourselves can testify that I said, I am not the Messiah, but am sent ahead of him. The bride belongs to the bridegroom. The friend who attends the bridegroom waits and listens for him, and is full of joy when he hears the bridegroom's voice. That joy of mine is now complete. He must become greater, and I must become less." So that's the look of pride and the look of humility. Pride looking towards ourselves, pride, humility looking away from ourselves to God and to his Son. Now we're going to look at the feel of pride and humility. We now come to probably the most well-known proverb of them all. Pride comes before... Chapter 16. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 18. Before destruction a man's heart is haughty, but humility comes before honour. Chapter 11. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but the humble is wisdom. You'd think that if a path had a signpost reading, edge of the cliff this way, nobody would drive down it. But though we're all familiar with the idea that pride comes before a fall, we still reject the path of humility in favour of the path of pride. But why? Why does pride make us feel good? Why do we choose it instead? Well, I think it's got a little bit to do with our egos. Imagine you have a choice between 4 cars, a Skoda, an Audi, a BMW, and a Ferrari. The Ferrari appeals to your ego, but it might not make sense in your mind. Imagine the Skoda had a windscreen like this, but the Audi had a windscreen like this. The BMW had a windscreen like this, and the Ferrari had a windscreen like this. Which car most appeals to your head? The Skoda. It's the only one through which you can see. But which car most appeals to our egos? The Ferrari, even though we cannot see. Sadly, pride appeals to our ego, but it reduces our eyesight a lot. Pride blinds us to danger. It will never happen to me. I know what I'm doing. Pride blinds us to our need for help. I don't need help. I can't admit I need help. Pride blinds us to the wisdom of others. I know best. They are wrong. Pride blinds us to our flaws and failings, and so we become overconfident. Yes, we know that pride comes before a fall, but because pride often grows so gradually, we don't see it happening. We don't see pride growing in our lives or appreciate how blind it makes us. Also, consider the timeline of a fall. Imagine a man falls from a 100-story building. Somebody calls out to him from the 50th floor. "How's it going?" The falling man said, "Okay so far." Pride feels and tastes good to start with, much like that first spoon of honey tastes good, even though you know that by the 50th spoonful the person will be sick. It feels good criticizing others and feeling like I'm better. I prefer to entertain the idea that I don't need other people's help. It feels nice patting myself on the back and getting others to join in. I prefer to forget about my past mistakes and ignore my flaws. However, Proverbs reminds us that all of these things pave the way for a fall. And pride is not good for us in many other ways. For example, take this parable. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, "God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast 2 days a week and give away 1/10 of all I get." Needless to say, the Pharisee felt great, until another Pharisee stood up and prayed, "God, I thank you that I am not like this first Pharisee. I fast 4 days a week and give away 50% of all I get." Needless to say, the second Pharisee felt great, and the first Pharisee felt rubbish. That was until a third Pharisee stood up and prayed, "God, I thank you that I am not like the first or second Pharisee. I fast 6 days a week and give away 100% of all I get. Jaws dropped. People gasped. 100%? The third Pharisee's ego went through the roof. But the tax collector stood at a distance. He could not even look up to heaven, but beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on him. I've got to tell the third Pharisee, today his income tax is due. This silly parable of my own devices, based on Jesus, it reminds us that pride can destroy us. When someone does better than us, we feel jealous of them and rubbish about ourselves. Pride demands from us. Pride demands that we constantly prove ourselves better than others. And it can be demanding, always needing to hide our flaws, fast 8 days a week, and maintain a perfect reputation. Pride distracts us. The Pharisee was so distracted by proving he was better that he forgot about the debt he owed. And just think what would happen if we forgot about the debt because of pride. We forgot about the debt we owed to God. As it says in Proverbs 16, the Lord detests all the proud of heart. Be sure of this, they will not go unpunished. Through love and faithfulness, sin is atoned for. We cannot know God's forgiveness if we remain proud and stubborn. We cannot enjoy God's forgiveness if we are proud. No proud person enjoys charity. Whereas humility enables us to appreciate the greatness of God's grace towards us. Humility enables us to stand in awe of what He has done for us.